folks. So that's online. It's connecting the stream. We've got to click a button here. YouTube.
Hey, YouTube folks.
I don't know if YouTube's on or not. So this is, yeah, I think we were live. Yep, we're live there.
Hey.
And Facebook. And 1, 2, 3. Let's go live.
Hello.
Hello, internet world.
We told you we were going to sneak in.
Oh, boom.
We're
Here we
here. So we are sneaking in to catch you on
Tuesday
earlier time
morning.
frame on
What?
Tuesday
What?
morning, as promised. So
Thank you
Yeah.
of those who kept up with us.
hopefully, yeah. Well, hopefully everybody's tuning in. So we'll give people a second to chime in and tell us what's going on in your world this week.
we'll
It's
check.
early. We can't do our little Friday dance. What's exciting about Tuesday?
Tuesday, it's almost hump day. It's
Yeah,
the next day
we're
before
almost
hump
halfway
day.
through the week.
Yep, it is the weather. We got like a tease of the weather, of the nice cool weather. And then it went back to insanely hot
Well,
and
just
moisture.
so humid.
I think it's that hurricane
Yeah,
coming
or
in.
no, it's a tropical storm still, right? Or did it change?
I thought it was a category 2.
Oh gosh, that like just since
We
I
don't
looked,
keep
I
up
looked
with
like
this. I'm
2
sorry.
days ago.
We're not weather folks.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so hopefully you're having a good Tuesday morning.
Yeah.
Maybe you've already finished your coffee and you've finished checking on your email inbox and gotten that cleaned out. But you know what we're planning on talking to you about today is about emails and email marketing. Because, Friday we discussed a little bit about helping you sort of align what you're trying to achieve with, some different kinds of metrics to monitor. Because, like we mentioned, people tend to get confused because there's so many different tools and there's so many different things to monitor. So it's hard to say, this is my goal and here's how I monitor it. So we wanted to sort of take a little bit of time this month to help you realize from a content standpoint, based on what platform you're in, what your goals are, or just what you're trying to achieve. It doesn't have to be this hard number of a goal, but just something to sort of align your efforts with the tool and how to actually measure that stuff's working.
Yeah, so and every platform gives you different numbers, different terms. It's sort of number overload. So
Yeah,
if you're not the analytical type, it's a little scary.
It's overwhelming.
I
And
love
so-
it.
Right, and I'm very comfortable with numbers, so it's not a big deal to me. But that's why we're trying to cover some bases here to help you basically figure out what metrics to be paying attention to. And today we're going to dive into email marketing and talk about what kind of metrics could help you align with some general goals that are goals that you might have for your marketing efforts.
So every email marketing platform should have these same metrics that we talk about. When we bring up open rate, click-through rate, unsubscribe rate, or even subscribe rate, you should be able to find all these numbers in every email marketing platform. Specifically, these are specific to email.
Yeah. And I did forget to tell y'all, because since we are live, I'm waiting on an important phone call. So if I have to go crazy and run away, Justin will continue on
I will
diving into
do this live by
But-
myself if I have
But
to.
that's just a forewarning. I'm sure
Could
that they'll
get
call
interesting.
right in the middle, because that's what happens when you're waiting on a phone call. They call at the most inopportune time. So.
Yep, perfect timing. Yes, and it will happen. So let's dive in to our first topic. Now, we talked previously in our last video about 2 kinds of goals: brand awareness and conversion. So we're going to go through each one. So Michelle, if my goal is to increase brand awareness with email, what would I need to monitor in my email marketing platform?
Well, so there's a few different things that you're going to care about. And like we talked about, you know, when you're just have a general awareness goal in mind, impressions are everything. So just the simple fact that, you know, your list size and the list growth over time, that's a huge thing to think about, because even though they may not open the email, showing up in their inbox over and over and seeing your name and the subject line or the little teaser text is something that maybe they don't engage with that email, but seeing it over a few times, they're like, they see that, see an email, or sorry, see an ad, and then they're like, you know, I'm familiar with that. Let me click through. So just the sheer fact of getting contacts into your list and growing the list size so that you can be sending the emails to more people and sending more emails, that's again awareness. It's the impression. It's the size of your email is going to be sort of your impression. So your email list is your impression count in an email marketing world. And then also your consistency of how often you're sending emails. Those are two things that are going to help from an awareness standpoint. So that's something to consider. Another one that can sort of be, you know, considered awareness is going to be your open rate, and how many people are actually seeing the information within your email. Click-through rate isn't going to matter as much from an awareness standpoint. Now, it's an added bonus if someone clicks through on the email, but your goal of the actual email, when you put it together, shouldn't be as much of trying to get people to click through on that email. It should be very informative around whatever service, whatever launch, whatever product that you're just wanting to get the word out to about, you know, to this particular audience. So don't forget about segmenting and stuff like that, but those are really those main key things, is, you know, to think about how many people am I sending to, how often am I sending it, and then who's actually opening the email, like the amount of people actually opening the email. And that's going to really help you from an email marketing standpoint gauge how well your emails are increasing the awareness of your brand and your services.
Right. And one thing I do want to highlight, and that's why, like, organically growing your email marketing list is so key to this, because if you go out and buy or you get lists from other systems, that can really hurt your deliverability, which is going to hurt your open rate, and get you out there and get you marked as spam. So that's why it's really key not to go crazy and just buy millions of lists and send it out to everyone, and then you get a 0.05 open rate because all the email providers said, nope, we're not going to deliver this message.
Right.
So again, you want to treat your email and your contact list sort of like gold. Is that you don't want it getting tainted, you don't want to get it stolen. So you want to make sure you grow it organically in the right way via your website. If you have offline events, in the COVID realm, it might be newsletters through the mail, those kind of things.
Well, and not only that, but, you know, you can run so many different ads now for lead generation. I'm pretty sure every platform has some sort of lead generation. You know, you've got Facebook leads, lead ads. You've got Google now has the lead ads. So those are all ways to get people to sign up. You can have the pop-up form on your website for, you know, when someone's acting engaged with your content, tap or the information on your site and then tries to leave. Those are things that can help,
little pop-up.
Yeah, to drive more people. So you want to grow your list. You want them to, you know, and I'm glad you brought up the whole, you know, unsubscribe thing, because if people are actually not like marking you as spam, or if they're marking you as spam a lot and that kind of thing, you know, the deliverability, that's a mouthful.
It's Tuesday.
That's a mouthful for someone with a southern accent.
Deliverability. I got it. Wait a minute. Does that make me not southern? That's not good.
Well, you're not as southern as me. So the deliverability rate is important from your awareness too. So that's a good one to bring up. So I'm glad that you did, because, you know, if you're getting marked as spam like crazy, then your deliverability is going to be probably pretty bad long term. So
right. So that's why you always want to give the user an easy way to opt out.
Yeah.
Because you want to keep your list as clean as possible.
Right.
All right. So that's brand awareness.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's switch gears and jump over to conversions, which typically falls right after, if you think about the funnel, right after brand awareness is you want to get them to convert and do something. All right, so what if I'm using an email to drive conversions, all right, like a lead or even a donation on my website, or even you're an online platform that sells stuff, an e-commerce, then what metrics should I monitor in that email marketing platform?
Well, this one again is going to vary so much from user to user. You know, awareness is easy to sort of hone in on. Well, if you want to just show your information to as many people as possible, here's what you should measure. But when it comes to conversions, it's going to be very specific for your organization, for your company, and you need to first and foremost, and I can't stress this enough, make sure that whatever it is that you're trying to get to happen, so whether that's someone to check out on your online store, someone to fill out a form, someone to donate, if it's any of those or something different along those lines, you just need to make sure that you can actually monitor the actual conversion, whether that be with Google Analytics or whatever system you're on, if it has a way to monitor conversions. So make sure that you do have that in place so that you can monitor it and tie it back to email. Because if you can't monitor it, and there are some integrations like, you know, with your email marketing platform and whatever website platform or e-commerce platform you may have or donation system, there may be a connection that you can set up with the integration of the two that would allow you to then see the actual true conversion rate in your email marketing platform that are tied to a specific email. So that's getting a little more, you know, complex, but that is an option. But the biggest thing is to make sure you can actually monitor the conversion separate and away from your email, so that then you can gauge, okay, the email was in their conversion path at some point and they did convert. But if you're just, you know, if you don't have those two things integrated, because again, sometimes it can get really convoluted. If you don't have them connected, just some things to consider about your email would be, you know, first to try to drive click-throughs. So your click-through rate and your open rate are going to be a lot more important on this email, because you actually do want them to engage and you do want them to end up going to your site. And then, you know, obviously you're going to have a larger amount open it, a smaller amount click through, and an even smaller amount convert. But from an email marketing standpoint, the actual clicking through, you could count as, you know, a good conversion metric to monitor and keep it simple, because you want to increase that value and you want that value to be higher than it was the last time you emailed these people. So that's the one you would want to be optimizing, is open rate, click-through rate. And then another thing that can be really important is the when you send emails. So basically of monitoring when is a good time to send, you know, for this type of sale that I'm running. If I do, you know, my emails around this time of year, I get way better engagement than, you know, if I wait 2 weeks. So even like calendar dates, in addition to the day of the week and the time of the day that you send.
Now, one of the cool things that some platforms have is sort of like they will give you ranges. Hey, this is, if you send on a Wednesday, this is best time to send. If you send on a Thursday or a Monday, these are your better open rates. So look at that information if it gives it to you. Use that, because that will, I mean, if you think about it, don't send on 4th of July. People probably aren't on their computers and phones. You know, if you think about it from that standpoint. Also think about your industry. If you're B2B, you might not want to send at the beginning of a big conference that you all and all your clients go to. So just think around those kind of things. Yes, it does slow the process down, but then you'll have a better metrics to say, look, this actually worked. And one thing I'm going to throw in there for the conversion side is don't just expect one email to win it. You've got to hit them at least 2 to 3 times. depending on how often you email, you might go more. But just think about that too, is like, okay, if this is my first send, okay, I might get this open rate. And maybe the second send, you're excluding the people who converted. So then you're
Yeah.
trying to convert only the people who did not convert. So think about it from that standpoint too, to increase that total campaign conversion rate. Okay?
Oh yeah, I mean, and again, it's gonna, how often you send the email is gonna depend on how much you currently send to your audience. You know, if you only email once a month and then you come guns blazing and you're doing like 5 emails a day, then you're
One
gonna
email a week.
you're gonna get a lot of unsubscribes. So you don't want to. You've got to base it off of where you are and change your pattern a little bit. And then you're going to, you know, if you are already sending a lot of emails, then you obviously need to send this one a lot more times, because people may have gotten numb to your messaging, or they expect to hear from you a lot.
Right.
And they're sort of trained to be like, oh, I can get the next email. So you've got to think about where you are, and you've got to make sure you hit them multiple times with this.
Yep.
So that's, you know, conversion in a nutshell. It's going to be dependent on what you're trying to do. Make sure you can monitor it, and then make sure from an email standpoint that you are growing the click-through rate and the open rate. Those
Yep.
are things to easily help you monitor that what you're doing is working, and make sure that your actual email, the purpose of it and the design and what you're putting in there is like to really try to lead to that click-through. Put the button in multiple spots.
Multiple. Don't just
So-
do one, because they're going to miss it.
Right. So, you know, in multiple styles, you might have a link, and you might also have a button, and you might have an image that then links to whatever product it is. So just make sure that since it is a conversion, that is your goal of that email, make sure you're also thinking about that from a design standpoint too.
That's true. So most email marketing platforms give you a lot more metrics than just open rate, click-through rate, unsubscribe rate, those kind of things. What are some other rates or some other metrics in those platforms that you think would be good for our end users, our people watching the video, to be aware of?
Well, I think one is the unsubscribe rate.
Now, what's that?
It's what we had already talked about. Basically, it's when people are going to be considering this more spam related, or you sent way more emails than they're accustomed to, and they might decide to unsubscribe, or you're going to just get a few unsubscribes, and that's not the end of the world. But you want to keep that rate as low as possible, you know, so one thing, you know, is keeping your list like cleaner and not buying a bunch
Correct.
of lists, like he was mentioning with the organic growth of your list, and running advertisements to grow it, or getting people that connect with you, you know, with your social channel, to give them a reason to entice them to sign up for your email list. So like make sure it's more people connected with you, or that would be interested in what you offer, instead of just going to buy a cold list, because then your unsubscribe rate will be a lot higher. So
Yeah.
so think about that, and just make sure that you try to lower that number.
Yeah.
All across the board, you want to keep that as low as possible, and just to expect it to fluctuate. If you are doing a lot of ads and trying to generate a lot of new subscribers, then it probably is going to increase. So don't think you're doing something wrong, but you just might not have the lead quality that you would have if you would have grown the list even slower over time. So
Right.
so take that into consideration, because even if you do buy a list, it's going to make it like skyrocket.
Right.
So think about those things before you know, or as you're monitoring your email
Yeah.
marketing. metrics.
And another way to help with the unsubscribe rate is to segment. So
Oh yeah, that's a huge one.
don't necessarily send maybe something towards families with kids. Don't send that to just young adults and people who don't have kids. 'Cause
Yeah,
then
that's
they're
a
going to be
huge
like,
one.
well, I don't know why I'm on this anymore, because this is all they're sending. I'm going to unsubscribe, when really your message was targeted towards families. So create that segment, you know, and you can give people those options to sign up, say what kind of information do they want to be aware of, and those kind of things. So segment, and then with the brand awareness, don't, but then that email should be generic to everyone in your list.
Well, you can still segment, on your
Yeah.
brand awareness. You would just have like different style of the brand awareness that focuses in on what your
Right.
solution or product, like what it would matter to that particular person.
Right.
So segmenting is key, and I'm glad that you brought that up. And another thing to consider is, the forwarding of your emails. Like when you're talking about another metric on email marketing that is sort of interesting to monitor and see, because, forwarding an email might even mean, that you're going to get another conversion out of that, because it may be that they're forwarding it to a spouse or forwarding it to someone that they know wanted something like that or would be interested. So, forwards are really good for both awareness and conversion, because they very well may, get sent to that right person
Yep.
that should be aware of your product. So those are good things to keep up with, to just monitor how much forwards you're getting, so that you would know, like, either A, this recipe works really well to get forwards, or B, I'm reaching more of my goal of getting awareness up in a different audience that I wasn't hitting before.
Right, and most platforms have that option to automatically put in forward this message. Not everyone has that. That's just a disclaimer. And it's an easy way to get your promoters to share your message. So,
Well, that's a good way to measure your promoters too.
Yeah, and then you could even reward those people who forward your emails with maybe unique promotions and information or unique content for them. So, just a good way to use email marketing with a lot of different content, and going back to your goals of brand awareness, conversion metrics, those kind of things.
Right.
So, what we covered today, just to recap, so we talked specifically around email marketing and basically what metrics really mean based off your goals. So looking at open rates, click-through rates, looking at deliverability. I'm a northern apparently, I can say it just fine. Looking at unsubscribe rate, and then also just looking at the overall conversion rate that you had if you go after conversions. And again, you've got to have that set up and monitored, because the email platforms won't know what a conversion is. So that's our recap for the day.
Yeah.
And you know what? We hope you enjoyed this random Tuesday morning.
We'll be random next week too. So
Yeah, we don't even know.
Yeah.
We do know, but you don't know. With that, have a
Have a
great
good